Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Tuesday morning Q&A where we'll talk about the basics, what's Bitcoin, what is a wallet, how do you move cryptocurrency from one place to another. Thanks for joining me. Let's get moving. Let's go over here to full screen or on-screen demo. Let me pop out chat here and see who's around. At the moment, I don't see anybody. That's fine. For those of you who may be watching this after the fact, I kind of run into this thing with some technical difficulties. Um, Windows 10 forced me to update to their latest version, which was, I don't remember what it is. It's 1903, I think. I'd been avoiding it for quite some time, ever since last year, because I was having hardware issues when I updated to that. I did it once and then rolled it back because uh, it was causing some problems with, especially my most main thing was my webcam. It wouldn't recognize my webcam. So I've got a pretty new motherboard. Usually when you're running the latest version of Windows with all the latest hardware, you kind of have to wait for the hardware people to sort of catch up and get the updated drivers, their updated drivers. So anyway, Windows forced me to update, so I've been having some trouble. And one of the things was my Elgato capture card, which doesn't appear to be recognized anymore. Um, so I'm going to have to deal with that. And that's basically what runs my side camera. My Canon side camera is what I use for my close ups for my ledger. So we're going to have to, we'll compromise. I mean, I used to do videos quite a bit without that side camera, so we'll just go back to the old way if I need to show you what's going on my ledger. This ledger is a hardware wallet that I use for storing cryptocurrency. And that's kind of one of the main ways that I use to store my cryptocurrency. So we'll do our best. I don't have anything in Binance US right now, so let me. I want to do this real quick. My computer is next to me and it's got a greenish light. I'm going to switch that over to white so I'm a little better in the light. And it's daytime, so I'm really not going to turn on my key light, which lights me up at night. Good morning, Randy. Good morning, Mr. Uh, Imre is here. Hello. Imre. Adam78 is here. Hope all is well. Yes, all is well. Thank you. We're getting back to basics here. We've got the shelter in place or the stay at home directive in Michigan now, so we're staying home. We kind of decided to sort of stay inside. The kids have been out of school since last week, since Friday of the previous week, so the kids haven't really left the house. Um, I think we went a couple of places last week with the kids, grocery store and whatnot, and then over the weekend we kind of decided to stay in, uh, just for our own whatever. So, it wasn't a big transition. The hardest thing is that there's really nothing to do, to go out and do. We used to like to go out to eat quite a bit. So we're going to have to deal with that. Uh, but other than that, everything's pretty. I mean, we can still run to the grocery store. So anyway, I've got the computer configured. Like I said, I don't have the side camera, but let me pull up my phone sharing software here. We'll see if that still effing works. Apparently it does. That's good. Not only did I update Windows, Windows updated me. I updated my BIOS this morning, thinking that that would help. Um, and I think that's what I messed up my Elgato capture card because I pretty much was sure that I had run my Friday night since the Windows update and everything was fine. So anyway, I'll deal with all that down the road. Let's see. I want to know if running Bitcoin Core, what's the best practice to try to keep it safe as possible? Okay, so if you want to run Bitcoin Core is not really a wallet. Bitcoin.org. Here we go. When you get started with Bitcoin, and this is a pretty good resource here, bitcoin.org. Let's see here. Choose your wallet. Okay, so when we go to wallets, I don't want the helper. Okay, so it's just not being. All right, so okay, there we go. Windows wallets. I'm running Windows. Armory and Bitcoin Core here, and then they have some of these others. I like Electrum. Wasabi is kind of a privacy-based wallet, a little difficult to use. Armory, I haven't been able to get Armory to work for quite some time, and I don't know if it's just because I'm running the latest version of Windows. But anyway, Armory is one of those wallets that actually incorporates Bitcoin Core. Bitcoin Core, it's not really recommended that you run Bitcoin Core as your wallet. If I heard that somewhere. Full Bitcoin client builds the backbone of the network, high levels, blah, 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 blah. It has a wallet, but it's kind of primitive. It's really meant to be more of a back end. But if you want to run it as safe as possible, then my advice is to make sure that you've got, all of your computer set up safe, right? You've got your antivirus, you've got your firewall, you've got your anti-malware, you scanned your computer to make sure it's clear of viruses and malware or anything, keyloggers, anything that might, steal your Bitcoin or compromise your wallet. There are some malwares out there that can actually steal your private keys from your desktop-based wallets if, you've got malware on your computer. So the main thing is to make sure that you're free of malware. And ways to do that are to have the software of your choice scanning for malware. I like Malwarebytes, anti-malware myself. It's a great anti-malware program. I won't do that. So Malwarebytes Premium I'm using. I've got a subscription. It auto catches malware before it gets on your computer. You can download the free version of it, and it will scan for malware and remove it. So it's pretty cool. If even if you don't want to pay for it, you can download the free version of it, and it'll remove malware, but it won't block malware, right? You have to remove it after the fact. And for my antivirus, I use ESET. A lot of people use Norton. There's a lot of, and Windows has built-in antivirus now, Windows Defender, which works pretty good. And Windows has its own, what do you call that thing? Doggone it. See, I sometimes this happens to me. Firewall. Windows has a built-in firewall, but my ESET has antivirus and a firewall built in. So, and then beyond that, you basically don't want to click on links that people send you. You want to be safe and smart. And that's for protecting your Bitcoin Core wallet, right? For your Bitcoin or your cryptocurrency exchange accounts, you want to always have two-factor authentication enabled. And that, in my case, I use Google Authenticator. So, just be smart. Cryptocurrency is a technology that is built into your computer or your phone and the internet. So all of the other safety things that you've learned over the years still apply, right? Keep your computer operating system up to date. Make sure that you've got all the latest software updates and security updates in Windows. Make sure that all the software that you're running, your Microsoft Office, all that kind of stuff is up to date, with all the latest security updates. Make sure that you've got the latest software updates for all of your anti-malware and your antivirus, right? That kind of stuff. Make sure also that you've got your modem software is up to date. Good internet modems have built-in software that can help protect you against hacking attacks and all that. Just make sure your computer is up to date and running the latest software, basically. But my advice is to use a hardware wallet. Running Bitcoin Core to manage your Bitcoin is I don't know. There's better wallets, right? We look. They've got what are we doing here? Let's go back. Electrum Wallet is a great wallet to run too. It's not a full node, right? It's it supports hardware wallets, but it doesn't download the entire blockchain to your computer, so it's less resource intensive. If you're looking for a free, secure Bitcoin wallet for your computer, then I would recommend Electrum. Like I said, I got nothing against Bitcoin Core. It's the granddaddy of all the wallets, but I heard somewhere that it's not really appropriate to be using for your your wallet, right? And then beyond a free wallet, spend a little money and get yourself a hardware-based wallet to protect your cryptocurrency. Anyway, sorry about all that. Okay, yeah, so you've got the full blockchain downloaded and you run it from time to time for whatever you might be playing around with Bitcoin Core software, which is fine too. Like I said, just keep your computer safe and locked down. Hi, I'm about to buy a Nano S. Do you have up-to-date video about that? If you're looking for an up-to-date video on any of the Ledger stuff, just type. In fact, I think this video description has. Yeah. If you look down in the video description of this video, just scroll down a little bit. I've got links to all of my latest up-to-date videos for all of the Ledger devices and Ledger Live and everything. Ledger Nano S is pretty much the same for the latest version of Ledger Live, right? So, you can do CryptoDad and then type Ledger Live, right? And you'll get like a bunch of videos. Here's Ledger Live with Nano S, which sounds like what you're after. There have been some updates since this particular video. This video is from July of 2018. But here's how to install all the new features in Ledger Live 2.0, which I just did earlier this month. You can check that out. That's got all the latest features and interfaces. And like I said, if you're running a Ledger Nano X, or I'm sorry, if you have a Ledger Nano S, which is the earlier version, all the same things apply in Ledger Live, right? The latest version of Ledger Live will get you updated to the latest firmware on this guy. But if you just bought it, it probably already has the latest firmware. So you're good to go. Just follow the guides and, watch my live streams, where I demo this kind of stuff. Why don't we do a little demo? Let's plug in this little Ledger Nano S. There's really nothing on it right now. As far as cryptocurrency wallets go. So first you enter your PIN, right? You connect it to your computer with a cable. You enter your PIN. Ugh, doggone it. Entered the wrong PIN. That's what happens when you don't focus. Cryptocurrency teaches us to keep focused. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so there we go. All right, so, and then this is what the screen looks like when you first start it out. Let's do this guy. All right, oh, yeah, see, that's not going to help. All right, let's turn this off. Okay. All right, there we go. Now you can see it, right? I missed my side camera, right? So this is the home screen. And as you can see, I've got a few cryptocurrencies installed here. Ethereum, Bitcoin. Right. I'll just go ahead and enter Bitcoin. I don't like it when I'm not blended in here. All right. Okay. Ugh, seriously. Okay, here we go. Oh, damn it. Technical difficulties, guys. Having trouble. Without this side camera, I'm kind of at a disadvantage here. All right, so then we can launch our Ledger Live. All right. All right. So then Ledger Live is here. So Ledger Live manages all of the different cryptocurrencies that you have stored on here. And you really don't have cryptocurrencies stored on this thing. They're stored on the blockchain. This guy holds your private keys. Your private keys are what give you access to your blockchain addresses. So for each Bitcoin wallet, if we want to think of it like that, right? We want to think of a Bitcoin wallet as a Bitcoin address that stores Bitcoin, right? And then you've got a private key that unlocks that address. So for each of the private keys that you install on this device, you can create different accounts. As you can see, I have multiple Bitcoin accounts here. And some of these accounts are associated with this other device, right? You can manage multiple devices in Ledger Live. You'll notice down here that this Ledger S Black is associated with this account. I just named it that way so that I wouldn't forget which account went to which ledger. Because if you try to access a particular account when that device isn't connected, it's going to give you an error message, right? So you want to keep straight which accounts are associated with which devices. But if you want a step-by-step setup, then check out one of those videos that I showed you, right? This is a pretty good step-by-step. This is a good step-by-step on how you set up the device initially when you take it out of the box, right? When you write down the 24-word recovery phrase and do all that stuff. So check those out. I think they're probably in the links below. If not, then like I said, just Google CryptoDad Ledger Live or Nano X or Nano S, whatever, and you'll get what you're looking for. Google is a wonderful thing, right? Walked around the block with my daughter and flown my drone today. That's about it. Otherwise, stay home. Cool. First time on your live stream. I recently subscribed to your channel. Also used one of your videos, set up my Nano X, and I appreciate it. Nico Yas Finest 2. All right. All right, so I'm a little behind the times here. I'm tempted to just trust my Ledger Nano S and go ahead and use it. I meant Ledger Nano S or X won't one day decide to go out of business and then your device won't work, like 2025 or whatever. I'm just thinking of a general scenario. Very good question, Imre. We've talked about this before. The Ledger Nano S and X use a industry standard protocol called BIP39 or BIP39, which stands for Bitcoin Improvement Protocol. It's an industry standard for setting up wallets and recovery phrases. So when you set up this ledger, and I was kind of alluding to that over here, if you hover over that, you can see there that I'm setting up the 24-word recovery phrase. That is an industry standard, and it's a Bitcoin standard, and it will be around in 2025. So if for whatever reason Ledger goes out of business and your device doesn't work anymore, then you can extract your private keys. Let's do a 24-word recovery phrase. This 24-word recovery phrase. Now, I generated a random one here, but you could actually type in your own recovery phrase in this interface, and it would give you, see, here's the Bitcoin. It spits out my Bitcoin private keys, which I can import into whatever other wallets they have in 2025. But I can pretty much guarantee you that Ledger is going to remain around. But, you know, it's not 100%, right? But there will be other ways, you know, as long as you've got your 24-word recovery phrase, then you're fine, right? Even if the device, you know, we've talked about this in the now, right? If the device is lost or stolen or crushed or drowned or whatever, you've got your 24-word recovery phrase that will allow you to restore your wallets, all of your wallets, to a new device, right? Now, if Ledger goes out of business, it might be a little trickier because you'll have to find a compatible multi-cryptocurrency wallet or sort of extract each key separately, right? Here's the Bitcoin. I can do Ethereum, right? And it generates new keys, right? So you can extract your private keys, pull them into other wallets using that 24-word recovery phrase using the BIP39 tool. But there are other wallets that you could use to just import that 24-word recovery phrase into something else, right? That you don't have to use the BIP30. They're out there, right? So a very good question. A lot of people wonder about that. What happens when Ledger goes out of business? The short answer is they use an industry standard protocol for their wallets, and that recovery phrase can be used to restore your wallets to different interfaces, other types of wallets, if Ledger's not around. But they should be around for quite some time because they're based on an industry standard. Do you think the global crisis is a great opportunity for cryptocurrencies, or are cryptocurrencies being more strictly regulated or even banned? Question mark. Well, that question has been out there ever since 2017. I mean, even before that, really. But I mean, that's when the talk came out. Aren't they going to ban cryptocurrency? Well, the whole underlying idea of the way Bitcoin works and other cryptocurrencies is that they are decentralized, that there's no head of the snake to cut off, so to speak. So if you guys are as old as I am and remember Napster, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was this thing called Napster, and you could download any music you wanted on it. It was like people shared it. And you could go on Napster and download just about any music that came out. And there was a lot of uproar from artists because I remember there was Madonna's new album was available on Napster before it was even released. So, I mean, there was a lot of outcry. So, what happened? Well, the government or whoever took Napster down because Napster was centralized, right? There were centralized servers that the government was able to locate and like serve this guy with legal notices or whatever, and Napster was no more, right? It sort of survived in a different form after that, but it was never really the same. And then these darknet marketplaces, they're usually based on, you know, some server somewhere, like in the Netherlands or Denmark or wherever, and they get located. The governments, Interpol, you know, whatever, they locate these guys and they find the servers, which are like in somebody's basement somewhere, and they take them down, right? But Bitcoin is not like that. Bitcoin is decentralized. The code base for Bitcoin is open source. Anybody can download it. It's the copies of it are all over the world now, on different computers. The blockchain, which is the ledger or the you know, the record of all the Bitcoin transactions, all the Bitcoin wallets, is also decentralized. There's multiple copies of it all over the world. You can destroy. You can go out and destroy computers running Bitcoin blockchains all day long, but you cannot destroy Bitcoin until you have deleted every single copy of the blockchain on every single computer and every single device in the world, which is pretty much impossible. So that's why it's a resilient network. It is censorship resistant. Now, the government can do certain things like you know, regulate cryptocurrency exchanges and prevent you, you know, from your fiat on ramps. But where there's a will, there's a way. Um, they can't seize your Bitcoin wallets because no one can force you to enter a password or a PIN. You know, they can, you know, they can seize your bank accounts, they can garnish your wages, they can do all that stuff, but they can't confiscate your Bitcoin. And that's the way the system was designed, right? So, is this a great opportunity for cryptocurrencies? I believe yes, because we look at 2008, the financial crisis of 2008 is what spawned Bitcoin. In the beginning, it was created as an answer to the centralized banks and financial institutions that were basically too big to fail and were basically controlling the economy. And what happened when things went south? The big boys got bailed out and the little guys lost. So people lost their houses, they lost their jobs, they lost their retirement accounts, you know, their portfolios took a dive. So, and the same things are kind of happening now. But the difference between now and then is that now Bitcoin has been running since then. Bitcoin is a robust network now. I can't give you the terms of, you know, the hash rate and all this stuff, but it's, you know, it's inconceivable. It's astronomical. The robustness of the Bitcoin network now, and the use of the Bitcoin network has increased. There's so many more tools that you can use now to access the Bitcoin network. So many more wallets and services and all that. So now, with this new financial crisis, and we still don't know what's going to happen, right? There's a lot of things that are up in the air. But one thing we do know is that Bitcoin is here, it's ready, it's been running for 10 years, it's been established, it's been upgraded and improved since 2008. So we've got an alternate system that's already in place for those of us who reject the financial system the way it is, right? A lot of people are selling their stocks, pulling their money out of the bank, that kind of stuff. But, because cash is king and gold, but there are a lot of people that are getting into Bitcoin right now, right? So if you'll notice, the Bitcoin cryptocurrency prices are doing quite well. Bitcoin is over 6,700. If you remember back when we first started to see the stock market collapse, Bitcoin went all the way down to 3,700 on some exchanges. So I venture to say that it's had a 90% uh, recovery since, just a couple weeks ago, which is more than we can say for the stock market, right? The stock market is still down like 20 something percent, maybe 30, and it hasn't really recovered. But Bitcoin has. Now, Bitcoin's still not back at its all-time highs, or even our highs of February, which was Bitcoin was at 10,000. The stock market's up today, so I guess that's good news, right? So, but we'll see. But the stock market is still way off its high. Or if you remember, it was flirting with the Dow was flirting with 30,000 a few weeks back, and now it's still under 20. So even though it's an up day, we still don't have any clear-cut idea of what's going to happen with the stock market. We all hope that it will. We'll all weather this storm, financial storm, this virus, and we'll come out on the other end of it. But I get the feeling that Bitcoin is here to stay. Zach Whitting has been buying $30 worth of Bitcoin on a daily basis. Is there a time of day which is lower than others? Not really. Bitcoin is very volatile, so be prepared to lose your entire investment. You got to use that mindset when you're dealing with cryptocurrencies, right? It's not, it's still a nascent technology even after 10 years. So I personally don't think it's going back to zero, but you've got to be prepared for some gut-wrenching swings in price, right? Just like, a few weeks back when Bitcoin crashed, basically from 10,000 down to, below 4,000. That was horrible, that feeling. And, along with Bitcoin, all of the other cryptocurrencies also tend to swing wildly in these types of situations. So be prepared and think long term, and just use money that you can afford to lose. And that's what I've been doing. And now I've got quite a little nest egg socked away in cryptocurrencies. I watch it go up and down, but it's there for me. I liquidated some of it so I could load up on groceries and toilet paper back in February, and it was there for me when I needed it. So I have less than I did, but I'm okay because I had the funds that I needed when I needed them, and so that's a good thing. And don't. Another thing about cryptocurrencies is don't worry about the value of it all the time, right? I know that sounds crazy, right? But like I said, I had to spend some of it, and I converted some of it to cash, and now it's back up again. So am I going to tell myself, oh man, I should have held it because it would have been worth, 3% more today if I hadn't cashed out yesterday? And don't get caught up in that kind of stuff, or, oh, I don't want to sell it because it might go up, and then you don't sell it, and then it goes down, and then you're like, oh, I wish I would have sold it when, I thought I would, just stop with all of that, obsessing in your mind about the current price and, so just kind of learn to go with the flow and take it easy. And if you want to hold Bitcoin and learn how to use it, don't worry so much about the day-to-day price, right? Um, Napster, yeah, MCO Apple payoff. All right, so hey, Scott's here. Good. Angula is here. Von Uberwald, you missed the start. Sorry to hear that. I don't know. You can go back and watch the beginning while we're still streaming, or after we're done. It's been kind of a crazy session. I've been mostly talking. Haven't been moving crypto too much. Um, I don't know if I've got anything. I really don't have enough in crypto.com to do a withdrawal today, but we could. I'll buy a little Bitcoin just so you guys can see the easiest, quickest way for me is Cash App. So Cash App is a great app that you can use. It's run by Square, which is Jack Dorsey's company, the CEO of Twitter. And it's a great way to send and receive money between friends, right? It's like Venmo or Zelle. It's a way to transfer money back and forth. You can use Cash App to pay some bills to if they accept it. Your landlord might accept it, and it's connected to my bank account, right? So I can pull some money out of my bank, put it in Cash App, and send it to my friend, right? But you can also use Cash App to buy Bitcoin, right? It's pretty cool. So over here at the bottom, there's that little squiggly line. If I tap that, that is the investment section of Cash App. And you'll notice they've got stocks there, but you can also go over to Bitcoin and buy yourself a little Bitcoin. So if we hit buy here, if I tap buy, it gives me some options of, how much Bitcoin do I want to buy? Well, okay, so let's say I want to buy $50 worth of Bitcoin, right? I'll hit next. And this connects to my bank account. So when I buy Bitcoin, it takes it right out of my bank account. You'll notice the fee there is $1.15. So I'm not going to get a full $50 worth of Bitcoin, but the fees are pretty low compared to some other platforms. Like Coinbase would probably charge you like $2.99 for something like this, right? Or it's the fees are pretty low on Cash App. So I'll hit confirm there. All right. There wasn't any money in my Chase. There was just enough money to cover that in my Chase account. I'm not really worried, right? All right. So we've managed to purchase the Bitcoin there, right? And let's go back over to the home screen. And you can see there that it still says I have 0 in the Cash App because that balance is for the actual cash balance that you have in Cash App, right? The dollar balance. But if you look down there in Bitcoin, you can see that that Bitcoin is in there, all right? Now, once I've got the Bitcoin in Cash App, I can do things with it, right? I can deposit Bitcoin that I already own in Cash App. And that's a way to liquidate, right? So if I want to move my Bitcoin from my own wallet into Cash App, I can do that. And then I can sell that Bitcoin for cash, right? So if we go where here, see now that I have Bitcoin, I'm over in the investing thing. I could sell it for all of it for cash, and then I would see a balance in my Cash App, right? But I'm not going to cash out because I just bought it, right, from within Cash App. But let's say I had half a Bitcoin in my own wallet and I wanted to move it over into Cash App, I could easily liquidate. And that's cool because Cash App will allow me to cash out directly back to my bank account if I need that money, to pay bills or whatever, right? When I want to liquidate. So let's withdraw this Bitcoin from Cash App and put it into our Ledger Nano S, right? So here's a native SegWit Bitcoin account, an address, right? And it's associated with my Ledger Nano X. Side camera missing. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my PIN. There we go. Managed to do that without too much trouble. All right, and then we're going to enter the Bitcoin app by hitting both buttons. Actually, I'll wait, right? I want to do a receive. I want to send some Bitcoin from somewhere else to this wallet. So we'll hit continue here. Now, the new Ledger Live 2.0 is going to tell me, hey, buddy, you need to open the Bitcoin app on your device. And so I'm just going to mirror that, right? I'm over Bitcoin now, right? You can see that I'm over the Bitcoin app. I could go to Litecoin or Ethereum by using these buttons to navigate. But now I'm on Bitcoin. I'm going to hit both buttons and enter the Bitcoin app. And then I'll just watch my screen. And my screen is going to say, okay, buddy, you did what I asked. And here's your address, right? Now, I'm going to use Cash App. So I'm just going to do the show QR code. That is my Bitcoin address. Much easier than copying or typing it in by hand, right? That's not really an option, right? Very prone to errors. But I do want to take this Bitcoin and withdraw the Bitcoin, right? And how much do I want to withdraw? I'm just going to slide it all the way over to the max, and I'm going to hit withdraw, and the camera comes up. Now you can see below there I've got enter manually if I wanted to cut and paste or actually type the address in, but I'm not going to do that, right? The camera is there for me to just scan a Bitcoin address on my computer, and there it is, right? The address is scanned in. I can eyeball it and look over there and make sure that it's the right address, right? Compare the two, and then I'll hit confirm, right? And then I need to enter my Cash App PIN, which I will do, right? And then it's like, okay, great. You initiated the withdrawal of your Bitcoin. You moved it, right? And now my Bitcoin goes to 0 on the Cash App. Now, why did I do that? Why didn't I just leave the Bitcoin in the Cash App, right? The main reason is because the Cash App is a custodial wallet, right? It is holding the Bitcoin on my behalf. But I don't really own that Bitcoin until I store it in a wallet where I control the private keys. And that is a ledger-based wallet. So I'm going to close this off, and I'm going to finish this thing here. I'm going to confirm the address. Now, it's a little backwards. We used to do that in the beginning, but then you'll notice that the address disappears. So you kind of have to do your address stuff before. And then we can look here. Some Bitcoin came in yesterday on March 23rd. But I haven't received the Bitcoin yet from the Cash App. It'll take it a few minutes, right? And usually what you'll get from the Cash App is a, oh, there it is. Boom, that was fast. Let's see here. There, I got an email alert that the Cash App withdrawal was successful. And the Bitcoin that I bought, which as you can see, $48.69. Don't get all caught up in the price, right? Because the ledger calculates the current price of Bitcoin a little bit different than some other apps might, right? So you might see a little discrepancy when you make transfers, right? Don't freak out. There's also fluctuation in the price of Bitcoin going on. So just try not to be too obsessive about the down to the penny price of any transfers that you make, right? There are network fees on the Bitcoin blockchain, right, that are built into Bitcoin. That's the way it works. Uh, Miners, people that run the Bitcoin network using high-end computer hardware, process transactions. It's kind of a volunteer type thing, but you get paid, you get rewarded for doing these transactions, and that is the network fees. They go to the people, the good people that are maintaining the Bitcoin network, that are all over the world, right? Like I said, it's decentralized. There are people running Bitcoin miner nodes all over the world, and that's where those little Bitcoin fees go to, right? But those Bitcoin fees are much lower than the credit card percentages that get charged. Uh, a credit card charge might be, a few percentage points, whereas the Bitcoin network is always less than 1%, depending on the situation. So anyway, we moved some Bitcoin from one place to another. It happened really quick. That was pretty amazing. So that's a pretty cool thing, right? Frank Piazza is here. Scott Lee. If I start to fret, I take a walk or cut the grass. Just distract yourself a bit. Good. I just checked my ledger and found 888,888 kick tokens. Is it a scam? It's less of a scam and more of a spam. If you would like to, you can just ignore it. It used to be here. I've got them too, right? It used to have a value, but now it doesn't, right? It's got a little line here for value. So it was irritating in the sense that it contributed to your portfolio, your total portfolio value. So it was mildly irritating in that sense. But as it turns out, you cannot sell kick token, right? There was a exchange, KuCoin, that supported kick token, but there was no way to move kick token. It has a built-in smart contract that prevents you from moving it. The only way to actually make it work was to sign up on the kick token website and jump through a bunch of hoops with them, and that was where the scam sort of came into it. That was where people were like, hey, how can I sell this kick token? And then they went to the kick token website and got sucked into their pyramid scheme or whatever the hell it was. Now, Ledger, when they ran their update, stopped showing its value. So now it's not that much of an irritation. But it would be nice if you could just tell it not to show at all. But it's not hurting anything in its current form. Ledger may build that in. But as it stands, Ledger will show you. See, I got a lot of worthless ERC20 tokens in my Ethereum wallets that are like airdropped to me. And in the past, I never really worried about them because they don't show any value and they're not hurting anything. They're just in there, right? It's an open network. It's not regulated by anybody or anything. So there's nothing to prevent people from, airdropping you their coins, right? There are ways to get airdrops of coins that have improved in value, but most of the unsolicited airdrops are usually worthless coins, right? People are trying to increase their circulation by airdropping coins out to people, but there are a lot of failed projects that did the airdrop thing and nothing ever came of it, right? But they're still in there. Nothing to worry about, right? So just don't take any action. They're not going to hurt your wallet. They're not going to steal your crypto. They're just there, right? There's nothing to fret about. No, it can't be deleted. It would be nice if you could delete it, but you can't. That's just the way the network works, right? There's no way to delete it. Like I said, there's no way to move it, right? It's a scam. It's more of, like I said, it's more of a spam. It's right there's. It's like, okay, I'm on Google and I'm reading my favorite blog, and there's all these like ads. What can you do about them? Well, you can put up ad blockers and that sort of thing, but uh, we've pretty much learned to accept that there's going to be a bunch of ads on the internet. We just kind of deal with it. We do our best, but ad blockers aren't perfect, and a lot of ads still get through. So we just kind of learn to accept it. So that's kind of how it is with all of these worthless airdrops. Just they're not hurting anything. Just just deal with it. Learn to live with them. All right. So there you go. That's that. Let's see. Did I miss any questions here? Did they get the bugs out of the Ledger Live 2 update yet? Haven't got to see your vids for a couple of weeks. Thank you. I downloaded Ledger Live 2.0 when it first came out. And it works fine for me, but I've got a lot of comments from people who it's not working out for. Sync issues, balance issues, all kinds of weird stuff going on. And I really don't know why that's occurring, because it's not occurring in my copy. The only thing that I'm not that crazy about is when you do a receive and you're looking at your address, right? The old way was that you would immediately confirm the address on your device and hit approve. And then you could read the address or copy it or whatever. Now it just disappears. So you kind of have to like copy the address into your clipboard before you approve on the device. So I think that's a little wonky, but it's not really a bug. It's just that they designed it kind of weird. But I can live with that. But the bugs that other people are experiencing are probably because they're running a different version of Windows than I am. Maybe an older version, Windows 7, Windows 8, or they're running Windows 10, but it hasn't been updated in a long time. So it's behaving differently. When developers release software, it's notoriously buggy when they first release it. Windows updates are the same. I'm lamenting what happened to my Windows machine after I ran the Windows update. Microsoft Office, whenever they come out with new software, there's always a certain amount of bugs in every software. And it's generally because there are so many different platforms that you don't account for in your software, right? The guys that are developing this software are probably developing it on a Windows machine, and their Windows is all up to date and everything's hunky-dory. So when they test it and run it, it's running fine. But what they really need to do is test it on like an older machine that's running Windows 7, or a laptop that's running Windows 8.1 and all this. But how can you do that, right? How can you test for every eventuality out there? It's not easy. But that, a lot of people expect that. So as far as I know, there have been there's been a if we go to About, we can see that there's been a minor update since version 2.1 or 2.0, right? Ledger Live 2.0 had some bug fixes, right? Just kind of minor stuff. And then here's Ledger Live 2.0 with the vastly improved interface. I'm really happy about Ledger Live 2.0. There's a lot of great stuff in the manager. all this new graphical interface where it tells me what to do is much better than it was before. It wants me to quit the application on my device, so I'm going to do that. I'll hit quit. Right? It didn't used to be so user friendly. A lot of people were having trouble. All right, now it's telling me I need to allow Ledger Manager, right? So the interface is so much better now. And when you go into Ledger Manager, there's so much more information than there used to be. They give you a breakdown of what apps you've got on the device, how much free space you have left. It tells you which apps are installed now. It didn't used to tell you that. It'll tell you if you've got an app on there that is not supported in Ledger Live. It's got a little link. So I've got some Stellar on here. It's not supported in Ledger Live, but I am storing the private keys. So this little link takes me over to their help section where I can find out how do I deal with Stellar, right? And they give me step-by-step instructions. They tell me I have to open the Stellar account viewer, right? I don't know what that's all about. Security key doesn't look familiar. Please try a different one. I don't know what that's about. Okay, whatever. All right, so maybe they're talking about this, but I'm just going to go into my Stellar app. Yeah, this latest version of Windows is really throwing me for a loop. All right, we'll just keep going till we get to Stellar. Right, there's Stellar. I'll hit both buttons. Right. All right, and then I want this button to light up. So I'm just going to refresh. There it is, sign in with Ledger. It tells me I have to have the latest firmware for Stellar, which I can find by navigating over here. If you can't see it very well, my version is what they're saying it needs to be, version 3.1, right? So I'm all golden there. Hit sign in with Ledger, and there we go. I've got, there's my Stellar balance. There's my Stellar public key. So there are a lot of cryptocurrencies that you can store on the Ledger that are not supported in Ledger Live directly, right? So I get a lot of that. People are upset. Oh, where's Stellar? I can't get Stellar in here. Well, it's not supported in Ledger Live. It's just, the world is the way the world is, right? We don't have flying cars either. So, and Ledger Live doesn't support every cryptocurrency that you can store on the Ledger. But better to store it on the Ledger and have to use a third-party interface than to store it in a less insecure wallet, right? Being able to store your private keys on the Ledger that's the main thing, right? I don't want my Stellar in an insecure hot wallet, right? I want it stored on my hardware device. And, if it's not in Ledger Live, then I've learned to use the Stellar account viewer. It's not that big of a deal. It's not rocket science. It's just not as convenient as Ledger Live. Okay, I get it, but it's not a deal breaker for me. It seems to be for a lot of people. Our society is so convenience based that we expect everything to be so simple and easy for us to use, and when it's not, we get all bent out of shape. But cryptocurrency is similar to the way computers were back in the late 80s and the early 90s. They were like just for hobbyists, and they crashed a lot, and they were hard to use, and it was difficult, and it wasn't intuitive. And computers have evolved so much since then. Computers are way easier to use. They're much more reliable. Your data is much more stable and reliable. It used to, I used to hear back in the 80s and 90s, oh, my hard drive crashed, I lost everything. Hard drives are much more robust and resilient now. And cryptocurrency will get there too. We're dealing with a nascent technology. It's only the first 10 years, and Stellar hasn't even been around as long as Bitcoin. So, we got to learn to deal with a little bit of difficulties and non-intuitive interfaces. In, but I know that the cryptocurrency is stored safely and securely, and that's what's most important to me. You know, the interface isn't that easy, but I can deal with that. And then also remember too, with cryptocurrency, hardware, wallets, that kind of stuff, you have to remember your passwords, right? There's nobody out there to reset your password for you when you forget it. So please be diligent, be mindful, be meticulous. Make sure you keep your passwords, stored, written down in a notebook, or use a password manager, or keep them uh, in a encrypted flash drive. Just make sure that you've got all your passwords. Don't forget your passwords and your recovery phrases and your pins and all that. This is big boy adult stuff, right? We have to learn to be more uh, precise in the way that we operate, right? We can't just be slipshod. So that's all I got to say about that. Marcia is here. It's good. Good to have you. Haven't seen you in a while, Marcia. Thanks for being here. If we can't rely on software, then Nano is just another problem we don't need with crypto. We have to make it simple for people. Yes, I agree. It needs to be simple, but it's not right now. So deal with it. We have to deal with the fact that it's not simple now. Um, Simple is not my main criterion, right? For me, being able to hold something that's decentralized, that is divorced from the financial Ponzi scheme that is the fiat money system, right? Something that is has value and that I control. I That's my number one priority. Whether it's simple or not, that can come later. Uh, we think everything needs to be simple, uh, and it should be simple, right? That should be a goal, but we're not there yet. So don't let that deter you from getting your hands on some crypto and learning how to use it. Just think of this. When I got into computers, they were so hard to use and they crashed all the time. And I was a techie and I learned how to do it. And now that they're so much easier to use, my skill set is there when things go wrong, right? That they're still not foolproof. And a lot of people like my son or my daughter, what's going on with my computer? It's not working anymore. And I can go over there and fix whatever their problem is in 2 seconds, right? Because I'm used to troubleshooting computers and I've learned that skill set. So why not, focus and learn the skill set on how to deal with cryptocurrencies early on so that when they get easier to use, it'll be such a breeze for you because you'll have that primitive skill set that you acquired when they first came out, right? So, that's why I'm doing the basics here to learn about what Bitcoin is, how it works. I do my best to kind of explain to you guys how it works, and I give you demos of how you move it around. It's primitive in a way when you think about it, but just think if you can learn these basic skills, how much more adept you will be when the interface is improved and they do get easier to use, right? So just like I learned how to use DOS back in the day, I still, those skills still come into play a little bit. Like when you're typing in a name for a file and you use a slash, it's like, ooh, it won't let you. And I know why, right? Because a slash to the computer, that is a directory command, right? That's why you can't use slashes in your file names when you create a file in Windows 10. And back in those days, my file names had to be like 8 characters long or less. Now you can like write the name of a file it can be long, right? Anyway, it's good to have everybody here today. Um, so I'm kind of at the end of the live stream. I usually just do an hour on Tuesdays. So just keep in mind that the cryptocurrency price action is not something you should be worried about on a day to day, but long term, over the last several weeks, we've learned that even the stock market is fragile in its own way. And a lot of people, they tell you, oh, buy stocks when you're young and you'll have something to retire on. And seems to be a pretty good paradigm. But a lot of people are doubting that as the stock market is imploding because of this black swan event. So there may be an alternative to that, and it could be decentralized cryptocurrencies. I believe that it is, but I can't say for 100%. But keep your options open. And even the big money managers were saying that a 1% allocation of your portfolio into cryptocurrencies is something that is a thing, right? People, they were actually advocating that. So and in their mind, it's a good investment in that it might go up substantially at some point in the future, and 1% is something that you can live without if it goes to zero. But they're actually advocating keeping that in your portfolio. The traditional is you do, I think it's 60-40, right? 60 stocks, 40 bonds, right? And then they say, okay, you can take that stock down to 59% and put in 1% of cryptocurrencies. I personally believe that the percentage should be higher because that's just me, but it is a risky investment. It's very volatile, so be prepared to lose your entire principal if you dive into cryptocurrencies. But you also might make out well because you're investing in a different value system than the current system, right? The current system might reset. We don't know what's going to happen, especially now. We might see bank holidays. We might see, like in Lebanon and in Greece and in other places where they tell you, oh, we're having, the banks are, because of the current financial COVID-19 crisis, we're going to have to close the banks for a few days. Or the ATMs, you're only going to be able to withdraw 500 a week or 200 a week or $100 a day or whatever. We may see those kind of things in the next few weeks, months, who knows. I'm not trying to be an alarmist, but no one's ever going to tell you that you can't move your Bitcoin, right? Your Bitcoin is under your control. So just let that sink in as we move forward into these very exciting and frightening times. We're all going to make it, right? The human condition will survive, but the financial condition may not, right? There may be a big paradigm shift going forward. So I'm here to help you guys adjust to it, answer your questions, do some demos, teach you how to move it around, how to buy it, how to store it, that kind of stuff. I'm here for that. So thanks for joining me. Buy Digibyte, as Scott says. You cannot stake your Cardano in Ledger Live. No, you have to use the Daedalus wallet. That's the only way to stake Cardano right now. You can stake Tezos in Ledger Live, but not Cardano. But that's a whole nother conversation. But that's the short answer to that question. All right, guys. So, all right. Thanks for joining me again. We'll get back to this. Don't forget, we do the live stream every Friday night for an hour and a half where we talk about Bitcoin, we talk about the markets, we go through the news, I take questions, we move crypto around. Hope to see you there for that. Also, I post videos on a regular basis, so subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, now I forgot my spiel. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you again soon.